It is a great pleasure for me to be joined by Ashley Law, Alberta's next country music star. How are you today, Ashley? Thank you for joining the show.
I'm very good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking. Um, First, I should like to mention you have a debut single coming out. This is your first entry into country music superstardom. The single is titled Not Go to Waste, and it was released May 12th, correct?
Yes.
Mhm. Tell us about the process of recording and writing this song.
So I wrote this song last summer. Most would consider it a love song. The song refers to most of Zach Bryan's song titles actually, and I the recording process is definitely an experience, and you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to the people. So I recorded with Travis Switzer, and he truly showed me the heart and soul of country music.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear the name Travis Swisher popped around like from time to time when I interviewed other podcast guests. I believe Martina Dawn as well as Megan Page, fellow country musicians from Alberta, have recorded with him before.
Yeah, yeah, they have.
Hmm. Yeah, tell us more about him.
Travis is honestly one of the greatest role models in Alberta country music. He got me into music and made me understand the whole process really well.
Hmm.
Um, Travis is one of the guys where he's super considerate and super calm when it comes to when you get frustrated and all that stuff. He always has a way of he always has solutions to help you.
Hmm. Tell us about the inspirations behind your debut single.
Um, so I actually wrote it about a guy I was with last summer. Um, and how all the adventures we went on and all the all the fun things that you love to do with someone. So that's what I wrote it about.
Hmm. So, are you still with him currently?
No, I'm not.
That's yeah, that's quite unfortunate. There's I think Martina Dawn has a song of the similar topic. I believe his her latest single, "Pretending," and it's about yeah, kind of a romantic fling that she has in the summer, which is a great song. I encourage you to listen to it. So my next question would be, how is it that the topic of love, especially romantic love, influence not just most of country music, but most of all music in general?
I feel like it's one of those topics that it's not always easy to express face to face, but within music it's able to bring out your emotions and how you truly feel about them.
Hmm. Yeah, and the feelings that you get from falling in love with someone as well as falling out of love with someone can be quite complex, you know?
Exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's very hard to determine why you actually love someone. Like if you, for example, if I am to ask why I love someone, I would list a number of good characteristics that this person has. But mm, you can, but yeah, if someone says that if another person possessed the same set of characteristics, would I, yeah, still be in love with them? The answer is possibly not.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's about growing up in Alberta.
Um, Growing up in Alberta, I grew up around farming and the big farming community. So I was surrounded by tractors and cattle my whole life. My hometown actually only has 3,000 people.
Mhm.
So I play in their local bar actually at their Monkey Top. And the community is very supportive and along with all the other artists in Alberta as well. I feel like my journey of recording for my first time and releasing my first single, that I was very supported within that industry as well.
Awesome. Yeah. I do hear that many of the guests I interview on this show, young country music stars, they start out as farm girls too. They grew up in the countryside and such. What's the name of the town which you grew up in?
So I grew up in Lacombe, Alberta. However, I moved to Bentley, or just outside of Bentley, within the last year or two.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to hear more about your life growing up in the farm setting.
So growing up, my dad was a farmer, and it's been probably 5 generations now of farmers. Um, I find you learn how to adjust to people being away a lot as they're busy and the seasons are busy. Um, One thing I've found about growing up on a farm is you learn a lot more than you think you do.
Hmm. Yeah, what have you learned?
Just as simple as you'd be shocked how many kids actually don't know how to use lawnmower. That is one thing that you would be very surprised about, as well as just the you there's a big respect towards all the farmers, and you respect the land and all that a whole lot more than most.
Yeah, and yeah, because you're a farmer, the work that you do is dependent on the land which you have, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
it's not like the service industry, however, or I guess the information industry where your work is independent from where you live.
Yeah, no, this one you pray to Mother Nature a whole lot.
Hmm. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have to face working in the farm setting?
Definitely the weather. That is one big thing. And like right now, Alberta is pretty well set on fire. So
Oh,
we're pretty well hoping for a whole lot of rain. It's very dry right now.
mhm. Yeah, the situation is quite different here in Vienna in that it rains a lot, like constantly over the next few days. There was like one day of sun that is, I think, yesterday, and then it's raining again.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right now, we have it's been like between plus 25 and plus 30 for the last like 2 weeks. It's been kind of gross. So,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm congratulations on making through the Alberta winter, by the way. I hear it's
Thank you.
terribly cold.
Um, this one actually wasn't as bad as most, surprisingly.
Mhm,
Um, yeah. Usually we get a whole lot more snow here than we did, which was very surprising. So,
mhm. I live in Canada for 4 years, but I spend most of my time in the province of Ontario, where I go to school. I spent 4 winters there, obviously, and it took a very long time adjusting to it because I come from a tropical country, which is Vietnam. But it does mean that once I've adapted to it, my tolerance for cold weather is significantly more than that of, I guess, my peers in Vietnam, and it got me to sort of accommodate myself to the weather here too in Vienna. The winter is not that bad.
yeah.
So, tell me about your parents. Are they musical people?
Actually, I come from a no musical family.
Mhm.
It just kind of, and I actually, growing up, I had a speech impediment, so it's kind of ironic that I'm able to sing as much as I can. Um, but yeah, apparently we all make jokes in our family that I get my singing from my dad in his because he's so good at it in the tractor, apparently.
Yeah, so we're recording this on the 16th of May, and 2 days ago it was Mother's Day. So I hope you had a wonderful time.
Oh yeah, I did. Thank you.
Yeah. What did you guys
Gotta spend lots of day with my mom.
Yeah, what did you guys get
Pardon?
up to? What did you guys get up to? That was the question.
Um, Not a whole lot. Spent most of the time at home. Had a family over, so we gotta spend lots of time with them. My mom works away, so when she's home, it's very important that we spend time with her and
Mhm.
take the time that we have.
I see. So, what do your parents do?
My dad does GPS and AOS, so he basically sets up you could consider it like automatic driving tractors.
Mm,
And my mom works for Chrysler,
the car
so
company?
she travels to a bunch of stores. Yeah, so she travels across Western Canada, actually.
Well, so I guess that
Yeah,
that means that she's away a lot, I suppose.
yeah, she is.
Mhm. So, whenever all the three of you, your parents and yourself are home, what would be an activity that you guys do together?
We actually go camping and quadding a lot in the summer. We have a big family friend group that likes to go out west, and we will spend every summer we spend 10 days out there in the bush, so it's really fun.
Yeah. So, would you see yourself as a outdoorsy person?
Very much.
Mhm. Yeah, I noticed that country musicians are like that too. They are much more outdoor than say myself, doesn't believe that unless who does believe that unless you have to, there's no point in going outside. And also, especially because I live in the city, and so going outside means seeing people, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm not a very big people person either, so it's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, but I guess since you live in the countryside, you know the it's more like land and nature than people, I hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah. So how did you get your interest in music in general and country music in particular?
So my sixth grade teacher actually started playing the guitar one day in class, and it was just something that really inspired me. And I always listened to Ashley McBryde and Miranda Lambert and all them growing up, and I found that their as I got older, their words started meaning more rather than just the song.
Do you remember what the your sixth grade teacher was playing? Like which song he or she was playing at that time?
Um, he was playing Sweet Caroline actually.
Oh,
That
wow.
was yeah,
Yeah, the Neil Diamond one.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I used to have like a lot of vinyls, and I managed to send them over to my family back in Vietnam, and I think there were a few Neil Diamond songs in there too.
that's
Um,
awesome.
mhm. Yeah. So, tell me about an example in which you listen to a country song, and then later in life you get delve into its meaning, and you find it to be profound.
So I always loved Ashley McBryde's Girl Going Nowhere.
Hmm.
Um, she had written the song about when you're playing music, how you have all these judgmental people and all these people who don't believe in you, but then you record your first song or you start getting gigs and all that, and all of a sudden they come running back. So in that song, it kind of shows the true faces between the people that want you for who you truly are and the people who want you because you're successful.
Hmm. Yeah, and she shares your name too, Ashley.
Yeah, she does.
I wonder if that is something that you can resonate with, as in like when you were starting out as a country musician, there were doubts and judgments and such.
Yeah. Um, One thing one thing I found but with her music actually is that she has a way of connecting with the people very well.
Mhm.
And that was probably the one thing that kind of clicked me to her instantly was that her way with words was truly impeccable. So
And so, when was your first performance as a musician?
so I actually started around the campfire. Um, so I started taking lessons in grade 6 after I'd heard my teacher play. And so the summer of grade 6, I actually brought it around the campfire, and nobody knew that I was doing it or that I could even sing. So that's where it all started. And then those people that were there have been my biggest supporters.
Well, do you remember which song you were playing?
My first song I ever learned was Girl Going Nowhere.
Oh, yeah, the Ashley McBride song, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. Pardon me for asking, but are you still in school at the moment, or have you graduated?
I am still in school.
Mhm. Which grade level?
I'm in grade 10, but I'm taking grade 11 courses. So,
Oh, wow. How come?
I'm trying to graduate early.
Mhm.
That way I can work and pay for school and all that.
I see. Yeah. So, do you expect to graduate in the next school year, you mean?
I'll probably graduate first semester grade 12, the way that Bentley lines up. They have it so that you are actually able to work in the afternoons. So you would only have 3 classes in the morning,
Mhm.
and then the afternoon you have off so you can go apprentice.
I see. So you're in high school at the moment. How tough it is? How tough is it?
I actually don't find it too bad.
Oh, okay.
My teachers are really good and very supportive and helpful. So,
I'm glad to hear it. I don't think you can get me to say anything nice about my high school experience. Back in Vietnam, it starts at grade 10 and it ends at grade 12, and those were the 3 worst years of my life. Yeah.
yeah, everyone's experience is different. It all depends on where you're at. And
Yeah. I think it depends on whether you like the subjects that you're studying, which I didn't, and also whether you found a good group of friends and you get along with everybody, which I also didn't. So it was like being lost at sea whenever I entered the school environment, you know.
yeah, that's understandable. That's how it was before I moved. It was kind of a little hard to fit in sometimes. And then when we moved to Bentley, I only have 24 kids in my class, and
Mhm.
there's like 86 total. So
Mhm.
there's, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't. It actually did make moving from school to school easier for me because I didn't make any friends at this one school, so there were no attachments to be made. Um, yeah, I wonder when you were moving from one town to the other, hence one school to the other. Like, did you have to like be separated, so to speak, from the friends that you've made in the previous school?
Um, I found it actually kind of showed some true colors within people.
Really?
Um, many actually didn't reach out to me after I moved until my song released,
Mhm.
which that's when I really started connecting with Ashley McBride's music.
Well, yeah, and yeah, I don't remember anyone in any school that I attended like ever reaching out to me. I'm still keeping in touch with at least one person from my middle school years, but that's that. And also one of the rather annoying things is that there are certain people that you are friends with on Facebook and haven't forgot to and you forgot to like unfriend them because you don't see them anymore. And whenever your birthday comes, they would send you a big happy birthday message, but all throughout the year, nothing.
Yeah, those are always the ones that show the most. So,
So, what kind of music are you listening to at the moment?
um, I'm listening to a lot of Zach Bryan, Jaden Hamilton, um, lots of young new artists actually. Um, Trying to kind of get a feel for the genres out there right now and what everyone's liking. So,
Mhm. Yeah. I do notice that even though there's an overwhelming amount of songs about love, there are not that many songs about friendship that make it through the airwaves. So I wonder if do you know any songs about friendship?
um, not overly actually.
Hmm.
Martina Dawn, I went to one of her showcases because she's actually we're related, and she played a song about friends, and it was actually I believe it's one that she should release eventually.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you know the name of the song?
I don't remember it at this moment. No, I don't.
Right, so you guys are related, you and Martina?
Yeah,
Mm.
we're different sides of the family. It's kind of one of those things that's
Hmm.
it's hard to explain.
I see. So is it like
Yeah.
does that mean that you guys are like cousins or like
Yeah, we would be cousins.
mhm. Yeah, she's a rather fun and dynamic person, right?
Yeah, she is.
Mhm. Yeah, I've only met her for an hour when we were doing this show, but yeah, judging from your personal experience with her, how would you describe Martina?
Martina's a life of the party. um, she's always fun and joyful, and she's honestly really amazing to be around. Um, when I first started recording, actually, she was one of the people I would go to when I was stressed out or needed to talk to someone or I didn't understand how to do something, and she would be there helping me right beside me.
Mhm. Yeah, she's a good listener, I'm supposing.
Yeah, she is.
Mhm. And yeah, Martinez's name is also named after a famous country musician, right? Martina McBride.
Yeah,
And yours is it's named after Ashley McBride, or is it just a coincidence?
I think it's just a coincidence a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm guessing you know Kim Simon as well.
Yeah, I do actually.
In fact,
Um,
yeah, in fact, I knew of you and your song through her.
yeah, so Kim is actually pretty well my manager,
Oh,
you could say. Not fully, but she's the one she's a big supporter throughout my music. She actually introduced me to Travis.
mm,
Um, and she was the one that helped me with my vocal lessons throughout the past couple years. We did the COVID Zoom calls and we did the in person. We've I she's truly I wouldn't be here today without her.
mhm. Yeah, I do know that she mentors a lot of young talents who wish to work in country music. Another one being Megan Page. I don't know if you've heard of her. She was a guest on this show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a fun person too. How would you describe Kim as personally, like the way you know her?
Um, Kim is how do I put this in words? She's truly an amazing person. She's always happy and always has a smile on her face and can always make jokes out of bad situations and I she's truly being around her just makes the energy so much better.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I'm Yeah, I have a chance to talk to her much more often than Martina, probably because she's busy. But there was this one time when I told her that I'm now living in Vienna, Austria, and then she deliberately mistakes it for Venice. So is it Vienna, Italia? So like that. That's a fun one. And I do tell her about some of the ups and downs that I've had in the current city that I'm living in. Mainly the fact that I'm quite lonely and people at my school don't seem to like me, but she she shows a great understanding that not many people do when I talk to them.
Yeah, she definitely is a way to connect with people, that's for sure.
Mhm. And so, what about non-country music? Do you listen to non-country musicians a lot?
Um, Not a whole lot actually. Um, my family is pretty big into country music, and I've just always grown up on it. I haven't really. I'll listen to some pop songs here and rock once in a while, but other than that, not really much.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the pop and rock songs that were popular at that time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've been a great fan of Neil Young ever since I was in high school, and he practically he practically saved my life because without him, my high school experience would be much more abysmal than it already was. Um, and I think he has a distinct country flavor in many of his greatest records, like After the Gold Rush or Harvest. Yeah, I would recommend her too.
I will take a listen to those for sure.
Mhm. And the town in Ontario that I live in is Peterborough, and he actually lives in the neighboring town of Omimi, which is pretty cool.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is pretty cool. That's really close.
Yeah, though I never get a chance to see him, but I'm told that he travels back and forth to Peterborough from time to time to buy antiques. So that's pretty fun.
Maybe you could catch them one day. You'll never know.
Mhm. Yeah, so after graduating from high school, do you plan to enter the university?
Um, I'm planning to. I'm kind of stuck between two careers right now that I want to do. Um, One of those is I'm a welding apprentice right now,
Mhm.
and I actually do like it a lot, but at the same time, I'm kind of leaning towards environmental science, like reclamation.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. Yeah, what appeals to you about environmental science?
um, I think that like doing all the samples of like the land and um re basically giving back to nature what we did to it.
Mhm. I
So,
see.
yeah,
Environmental science was actually something I learned in my first year of university, but I couldn't keep up with the classes, so I changed my major to English. But yeah, I do think that is important that we conserve what's the I guess the best of our planet.
exactly.
And it does sort of reflect the I think uh I think something that country music people, fans and listeners alike, and those who are interested in the environment, and also myself, who is kind of a pessimistic version and person in general, is that we are at odds with the modern world as it exists. From from the from the environmentalist standpoint, they take issues with rapid industrialization and the increasing emission of carbon into the air. And from the country musician standpoint, it's obviously the encroachment of city life into what is previously country territory or land, and I do believe that the expansion of cities could produce the kind of alienation that the country do not have. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's and I've always been a kind of a romantic person in that I do believe that a modern and increasingly analytic world does not suit human living, and those who are really good at, say, the analytical sciences like math and physics wish to, of course they do discover and make great contributions to the world, but I think they do intend to make a world where everyone is like them, so to speak. Everyone thinks in an analytical, numbersly manner. And I don't think the human brain works that way. And they will likely trigger like a huge reaction from those who cannot follow their course.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I find that sometimes they come up with my one solution to fix a problem and it just leads to 10 more.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. In the realm of the environment, which sort of like silver bullet solution can you think of?
um, well, there's always the big argument on like electric cars and gas cars and difference between the two. Like that is a huge one, but it's kind of like yes, we're getting fuel from energy in the ground, but then the all the batteries that they have to make, event where do they go? It's not like they can be recycled. So, it's kind of one of those things where it's either way it's not great, but
Mhm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the electric car. I will probably never drive one myself because it's too expensive, but I respect those who do drive it and the
yeah.
people who invented it, Elon Musk and everything. But yeah, I do not believe for a second that the electric car will completely replace gas-powered vehicles. And imagining that we can achieve that is kind of a pipe dream, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, what are some of the songs that you know that addresses, I guess, environmental issues, either directly or indirectly?
Um, I'm not too sure actually. I couldn't think of one off the top of my head.
Well,
Um,
yeah, you were saying.
yeah, I off the top of my head, I actually wouldn't know one.
Mhm. Yeah, Michael Jackson used to make that song called Earth Song, but I think that's way too sanctimonious. Yeah, most Michael Jackson songs are. And there's an Australian group called Midnight Oil in which they did a song called Beds Are Burning. It's it's
Mm,
it's one of those rare times when Australian music sort of make its way to the, I guess, the pop charts in the Americas. And the song pertains the issue of Native Australians or Aborigines, as they were once forced out their land and into, say, settlement, and now they're making their way back to the land that they believe was theirs to begin with, and many of them sort of die along the way. But it is, yeah.
sounds like an inspiring song.
Yes, yes, it is in some ways. Have you had a chance to travel through Canada?
Um, I used to play, me and my sister both used to play ringette, like high level. Um, so she had been to nationals twice or three times in her career. And so really the only time I traveled was when I was traveling with her ringette team to go to, they went to Winnipeg, um, and Regina.
Mhm,
and Vancouver. But other than that, I really haven't been out of the country since I was probably 3.
mhm. I really like the natural areas of Canada, at least where I've been to. I think at least in Ontario, I believe they have a policy in which they sequester a good part of the land for only for like natural conservation, and they allow no, industrial development or agriculture in this land. I think that's nice. And it's Canada is a vast country, right? And there are not that many people in it. So, the
Hmm.
ratio of nature over people is overwhelmingly large.
Yeah.
Do you prefer Canada when it's cold or not?
I would rather it be cold than hot.
Really? Yeah.
And that's because for me, I'm so used to in the winter, like wearing layers. And if you get too hot, you can always take some off. But you're never cold enough in the summer. That's what I find. I overheat too fast.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel the same thing about winter. In that my home country of Vietnam, it gets really, really hot up to what 40 Celsius in some days. Most days it'll be on the high 30s. Um, and I live in the city too, so so it gets like hotter because of all the surrounding buildings and not much like air ventilations and conditioning. Mm, and the winter in Vietnam, or at least in Hanoi, is not that cold either. It's kind of like fall weather in Canada. So when I was first in Canada, I was really excited to experience the winter, and also because I've never seen snow before. So when snow does come, it was a rather interesting experience, but that joy or that intrigue that I felt lasted only for 2 weeks. When after that things get colder and the roads get sloppier, and apparently there are 4 or so more months of that. So not
Yep.
really a big fan. Yeah, and also the dry skin too. Like I get my skin gets really dry during winter, and also the chapped lips, and those are the kind of like discomfort that I have to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, what other songs do you have in the woodwork that you're planning to release?
Um, One that I want to release is called Daddy's Little Girl.
Hmm.
I wrote it about mine and my dad's relationship and just how important it was to me growing up. And I feel like it could relate to a lot of fathers and daughters in the world. So,
Yeah, how would you describe your relationship with your dad?
my dad is like my best friend.
Well,
He's always there for me, and especially with my mom working away, he's my rock. He keeps me in line.
mhm. Yeah, I think of course in the case of Martina, apparently her mom is her best friend too. Um, and yeah, it is a kind of a strange experience to me, like when when my peers would describe their parents as their best friend and they do almost everything together because until I became like a grown adult, I've always had kind of a distant relationship with my parents. Yeah, they work a lot, and they um they didn't have a way, so to speak, to connect with me or to sympathize with my high school experience, which which is rather not good. So they're a rather distant figure, but as an adult, when I move out of the country, it's I began to sort of reconnect with them in such a way that I think we're on a good term now.
Yeah. One thing that so my sister moved out a couple months ago, and is living on her own. So since then I felt like I've gotten extremely closer with my parents over the past couple months. Just because me and my sister hand in hand all the time when we're around each other, so we can sometimes be a lot to handle when we're together and be a little bit of troublemakers, but
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid. I have a kid brother, and we would in the first 4 years of his life, we would get on like real fights, and I think there were some pretty intense stuff when he reaches the age of 10 and I 16. We had a 6 year difference, but over time he kind of becomes my best friend in a way, or at least the person whom I'm closest to in the family. He sort of like knows all the weird stuff that I know, and me and him talk about like a lot of things pertaining to his interests as well as mine, and we have these like weird inside jokes. But currently he's living back in Hanoi with my parents. But if it goes as planned, he'll be visiting this side of Europe for school. So I guess I get to meet him in person.
that would be awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, me and my sister, it's kind of funny. We're absolute polar opposites.
Yeah.
Um, I love the outdoors. She's more of a inside person, I guess. I work in a welding shop. She works an office job. So it's just one of those things where we've been pretty well polar opposites our whole life, yet it brings us closer together.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the same with me and my brother too. I think we're both sort of like indoors person, but my brother would get on well better socially when he's with people. Well, I do not. Um, yeah. So another option you want to do after high school is a welding apprenticeship, right?
Yeah.
It sounds extremely interesting. So what makes you consider that?
Well, I'm actually working for a welding company right now
Hmm?
called D&M Concrete. So I'm welding rebar and anything that they need help with that comes into the shop. Um, I just like it because it's just me and my work. I don't really have to talk to anyone else. It's one of those things where you can let your thoughts run through your head and
Hmm?
just do your own thing.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, I really like those work environments where you don't really have to talk to anyone unless you have to. Um,
yeah.
currently I'm working as a translator. My dad has a bunch of documents in English, and I have to translate it into Vietnamese, our native language, so that he can use it in his profession. So yeah, that job does not entail me communicating with anybody. I can work from anywhere I want, so it is great.
That that would be.
Yeah. So how do you see your, I guess, music trajectory going forward?
Um, I believe what's meant to be is meant to be. I actually have quite a few gigs coming up here.
Mhm.
Um, I also will be playing on the Horizon Youth Stage at Big Valley Jamboree, so that's exciting. And I'm singing Okana at lots of rodeos and boloramas, and between that and working, and I'm gonna be a little busy. I'm hoping to record another song here soon,
Well,
but
yeah, I always look forward to I guess diving myself into the Alberta country music scene. It seems that you guys have like really interesting stuff going on there.
yeah. So, everyone is very humble and supportive of each other. Um, I actually went to my first Country Music Alberta Awards this year in
Okay.
April. Um, and so they actually had what they called round tables there. So you gotta meet with different people from country music, Alberta, and they explain to you the business. There were songwriters, there were actual recording artists, there were producers, producer and artist relationships. It was truly an experience to go, and I'm glad that I did.
Mhm.
Um, and I find we're with Country Music Alberta, everyone is there for the same reason.
Yeah.
And it's to get their music out to the world. It's
Mhm.
yeah.
What are some of the most valuable pieces of advice that you got attending that roundtable event?
Um, one of them was that you need to sometimes if it sounds like the better option, it may not be the better option for you. So many artists who are new to the business try and follow other people's footsteps. But it's one of those things where you don't see what's behind those closed doors that they had to go through either to get there.
Yeah.
So it's always take sometimes you gotta make your own path to get to the end.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a similar way thing that I heard from Kim too, and that of course she has a very long career in country music, and she had to learn a lot of things while she was starting out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I loved about Kim mentoring me is she'd been through those things and she'd been through the new parts of it with Martina as well. So she knew the risks and she told me that there probably wasn't. She was very honest with me when I came into the music scene about
Mhm.
how you can't expect to go big without years and years of hard work, and there's not always a chance that you'll even get there one day, but it all depends on how hard you work.
Mhm. Yeah, I asked Kim when she was on this show once that what are some of the lessons that she wishes to impart on her mentees that she didn't get to learn or be told when she was previously starting out. So I wonder if she shared with you some of that too.
Um, One thing I remember her telling me was that you always, how'd she word it? She said you always have to do, or you always have to explain your own music in your own words.
Mhm.
So when you're writing songs, you're telling stories.
Yeah.
You're telling a journey that has happened in your life or in someone else's life, and you're writing from a different perspective. But that if you don't have those stories in your songs, it's not going to make it a great song.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
and yeah, how would Kim advise you to be, I guess, optimistic despite all the hardships that you will be going through as a musician?
um, she's always told me that you're in the music industry for you. It doesn't matter about the other people or the people that are disrespectful and don't maybe you guys don't agree on the same things, but sometimes you need to shut those out, and there's going to be hate comments, there's going to be people who don't like your music. There's everyone likes different things,
Mhm.
and that no matter what, you need to remember that you're writing the music for you.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's one thing that lots of young artists don't realize is that all this, all the hate comments and all that, it's just because they don't agree with you. It has nothing to do with if it's not good to other people as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not pursuing a career as a musician, but I've had to learn a similar thing after like some years of failing to do so and garner the consequences. is that obviously not everyone is going to like you as a person, and that doesn't mean that you are any lesser value as a human being. It's just that they do not like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in time you kind of have to take a their loss attitude, and that you just let them go and be with someone who values you and sees you for the same way that you see yourself.
Exactly.
So final question, one that I ask every musician who comes on the show: what does music mean to you?
Um, for me, music is an escape. Um, I didn't start writing songs until I lost my best friend a couple of years ago, actually, and she was one of the first songs that I wrote about.
Yeah.
Um, I found it was a way to escape and get away and get out all my feelings and my emotions that were building up at that time. And I find when I put those into music, it changes how I react to different situations.
Mhm.
So music for me is one of those things where I I do it to relieve myself of any pain or any hardships that I'm going through in life, or even those good moments that inspire you to become better. So
I see. I'm very sorry about your loss.
it's a cycle of life, unfortunately. But
Well, on that particular note, thank you very much, Ashley Law, for being on this program.
well, thank you for having me.
Yes, and your debut single is Not Go to Waste, and here's to many more down the road.
Thank you.